We are the Beer Amigos. We like beer. We are amigos. And that's why we call ourselves the Beer Amigos. Everybody. We are the Beer Amigos. We like beer. We are amigos. And that's why we call ourselves the Beer Amigos. The Beer Amigos.
Hey, this is Travis.
And this is Mike.
And we are
The Beer
Amigos! Mike, why don't you tell everybody where we are right now?
We are in the comforts of your own home.
You mean the studio?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
We're in the studio.
We are joined by this fine gentleman, Paul of Blind Bat Brewery.
Paul Dlugokencky.
Oh,
well done.
You took
Well
the challenge.
played.
I feared it. I was thinking about it on
nice.
the way here. I was like, respect the man's last name, don't slaughter it, because some people do that to my name. So I was like, wow, Trev.
Well, people have a hard time with your last name.
And it's pretty cut
It
and
looks
dry.
fairly
What do they say? Like Howl?
Like Holland. I'm like,
Holland.
Wow.
That's nice.
I'm like, my name is English. It's pretty cut and dry.
Well, I know Paul's because he's from Singapore, not from Singapore, and I...
Fellow center portions.
Yeah, and I look at
Yeah.
his mail, so I've
Yeah.
had time to study.
Thank you for paying the bills. PS&G.
How many syllables is it, Trev?
Dlugokencky. 5.
Yeah.
So we're here, we're in the studio. We haven't been in the studio in quite some time, but we're happy to have Paul with us. And I think
He's a Centerport local celebrity.
Yeah, he is.
Happy to be here. Thank you. Yeah.
You're the Blind Batmobile.
It's true.
Right,
It's
right,
true.
right.
Anytime I talk beer with non-normal people that I run into, they're like, "Yeah, like I see him drive around Centerport sometimes." And I was like, "Yeah, that's Paul."
Yeah. I try not to hit people because I got the branding on the. I can't give anybody the finger. I got to be nice.
That could be a cool t-shirt, like the Blind Batmobile.
When you hit someone, you get out and you pull the magnet off, right?
Right? Yeah.
You're like, "I'm good. Then you
Right.
put him in the trunk.
And I can't speak English.
I think I even told Paul when I went up to the mechanic probably like a year ago, his car was up there, and it was like,
Oh, yeah,
and it was like, spotting Obama's like limo. I was like, "Well, the Blind Batmobile."
The Batmobile, just go with that,
Yeah,
Trev.
yeah.
That's more favorable across demographics.
That's awesome.
And I'm colorblind, so it's appropriate. The car is white rather than black.
That's
so
right.
who knows what's
Yeah.
going on? The next one will be black.
It looks great nonetheless.
Thanks.
I like your logo. I appreciate it. So.
I do.
Oh, thank you.
I do too. So, Mike, why don't we get to it? You're the king of these interviews.
Ooh.
He is.
Yeah, it's great.
You
to
gotta
have
be good
you
at
here.
something.
If you frequently, listen to us or follow us, you definitely know that we frequently discuss Paul, talk about him. Good things, Paul. Good things.
No, thank you. No, actually, I'm a frequent listener, first time guest. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So
And I
this
appreciate
is the man in the flesh,
Yes.
or the voice of the man in
you
the
can't.
flesh.
Not as tactile in audio.
He's a gem, but nonetheless,
Thanks.
he's here visiting us. So this is pretty great, to have you here. This is our first brewer in studio.
That's true. We've had.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's
right.
kind of cool.
You've had on site like at festival. interviews,
yeah.
captured with various
But
people,
in terms of
but
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
studio,
Yeah.
we
It's a
had
little bit more casual setting,
Yeah.
and
Nico
Yeah.
Cremidas was our first in studio guest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He rode up on his motorcycle.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
May Marshmallow also a guest on that episode.
Yeah,
Rest in
S'mores,
peace.
Like
yeah,
that.
That's right. And then he took over. I think he was ready to kick you both out and be the one and only amigo.
Yep.
Sounds accurate.
I'm familiar with your work.
Thank you, Paul. It means a lot to us.
That's fine.
All right, Paul. So, you've definitely heard snippets and whatnot of beers we've had at festivals, just conversation. But I feel like this is a really great opportunity to kind of revisit that in an overview, get a really current, analysis and perspective and perception of where your business is right now.
Yeah.
So, first, let's maybe discuss some of the beers that you've been brewing recently. Trav brought a really good point to my attention that you've been doing a lot of collaborations.
Yeah, which was a lot of fun. First one I did was 2 years ago with Dan and Greg at Long Island. We did a Saison, which we think went over pretty well. And the whole experience of collaborating with another brewery is a lot of fun because you everybody comes to things from different angles and you kind of mix it up and it's a great community. as I'm sure you've heard, everyone said it's 99%. I don't know. Can I say asshole free?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we
That's
always
the famous quote by I think it was Sam from Dogfish Head.
I love
came
that.
up with that one.
Well, there's always got to be that guy.
There's always that guy
Yeah.
somewhere. I'm not pointing fingers.
Yeah. But he's out there. He's out there.
And we're,
That son of a bitch is out there.
I'm gonna get him. First, I have to take the decals off the car, then I'll get it. Anyways, and then recently, most recently, went over and brewed in Queens, which is geographically part of Long Island. The Finback guys, Basil and Kevin. They opened up just earlier this year. They're terrific brewers. They were home brewers, part of this Brooklyn tour that Joshua Bernstein used to take people around. You could just he would take you to different people's houses in Brooklyn, and
I know we
and
follow
drink
Josh
homebrew.
on Instagram.
Yeah. So anyway, so they were kind of superstars of that tour, and they finally got their brewery going. The cleanest brewery I've ever seen. Now we'll see after a couple of years if they keep it as clean, but it was beautiful. Like eat off the floor. But so we brewed. We kind of knocked ideas around. We came up with a mild ale, but out of style for ABV, a bit higher in alcohol, using cherrywood smoked malt. First time I ever brewed with commercially smoked malt. Smelled great. It was fun to do. And it would be out of the fermenter a couple of weeks.
And who approached who for the collaboration?
They contacted me.
Great.
Yeah. And then Larry from Spiderbite and I, we recently were at the Seatuck Foundation down in Islip, South Shore. It's an environmental Bats and Brews. It's an environmental foundation. Great place to go. Bring the kids. They've got all sorts of trails and exhibits and stuff down there.
Yeah.
But they do this thing. Telefono.
I think that's Paul's agent.
Yeah.
Agent on the line.
Yeah.
We've reached a subject.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yes, did I sign an NDA with Larry on that? Because I think he wants to brew. We brewed a double together, and we definitely want to tweak the recipe. Basically, it was a double by the numbers double, but we used local organic figs that I oven roasted.
Oh, nice.
So we brewed that here in Centerport.
I want to eat that.
And the figs afterwards were kind of interesting. Yeah. So Larry's kind of famous for never being happy. As incredible as his beers are, he always wants to tweak it further. He recently released Spiderbite, their Session IPA, which some blind taste test was named top Session IPA, and it was up against national brands, not just local stuff. And he was pouring some of that at the Seatuck Bats and Brews thing, and it was awesome. I said, "This is fantastic." It was. Yeah, I'm thinking of changing it a little. It's like, just brew something different if you want to change it. He's never happy.
Don't tinker. If you brew something great, don't
just make a different beer.
Yeah.
Twist it that way.
He brewed that great black IPA for the Beer Amigos Winterfest last year, and it was amazing.
He brewed an awesome quad for the North Fork Festival 2 or 3 years ago.
All right,
and I feel like the same thing every time we tell him it's great. He's like, it's probably gonna change.
Yeah.
But it is.
Right.
I'm looking forward to his location.
Right.
Is it Holbrook, right?
Holbrook.
Yeah.
Not far from St. James Brewery. He's going to be opening up nearby there, too.
I assume that's going to be in St. James.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
The brewer's name is Jamie. He named it St. James, but it's going to be in Holbrook, like pretty close to Spiderbite.
Right.
Jamie's a terrific brewer also. He's been at some of the festivals, the smaller festivals. He kind of specializes in Belgian styles.
Yeah, not to get away from Blind Bat, but I've enjoyed, he had some... It was the festival we went to in February, at the Aerospace place.
The Hops and Props.
Hops and Props. We had St. James stuff.
Okay.
It was great. So looking forward to that.
But actually, one more collaboration in the works. Steve Pominski, Barrage in Farmingdale.
Love Steve.
Steve's great. Steve's a madman.
Yeah, he's a madman.
I love him. Truth.
Right. We are knocking around an idea, since we're both of Polish heritage. Brewing a beer using only Polish hops. So we're thinking in the spring, because we're thinking it might be a wheat beer.
Nice.
And there's, so we're still working on the recipe.
An homage to your heritage, John.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that's the fun thing. You get into the kitchen with somebody else, because brewing is a lot like cooking, and you just play with ingredients and whatnot, and it's just fun.
Great.
And then this beer.
Yeah, that's a great part. And actually, I've written down in my notes. You also brewed the collaboration beer with the New York Cork Report.
Oh yes. Oh my
Thai
gosh,
PA.
I forgot. Yes, the Thai PA. That was interesting, because it took so long for me to get around to doing it.
That was years, though, right? Like plural. Right?
Years, like 2 years.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I hope not more than that.
I felt like I read that on Nico's blog.
Yeah. Len Thompson is basically more of a wine guy, but he actually loves hoppy IPAs. So I think I failed him on the Thai PA because it was not as hoppy as he was hoping for.
But originality.
Well, I think we're probably going to do Thai PA 2, which will be a hoppier version of it, but still brew the Thai PA that I put out last month. I think September we brewed it out. I only used one hop, Citra, which gives it a tropical fruit character. Then I added Thai basil, lemongrass, and ginger. Otherwise, pale ale malt recipe.
Right. And if anyone's not aware, the New York Cork Report is a website dedicated to news, reviews, and commentary on the New York wine industry.
Yes, and actually it's expanded to beer as well. He's got a beer columnist and folks who write about wine all over the state. And so Len is primarily a wine guy, and but he does love himself them hoppy beers.
Yeah, we've met him a few times at the Rocky Point Cask Festival.
Yep.
In January, when it usually snows.
Oh my God, and it will again.
It's pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah.
Paul, when can we expect to see the sequel of Thai PA?
I think that'll be next year, hopefully springish, if not summerish. I am at the mercy of the ingredients. I like to use the locally grown basil as opposed to, I don't know where else I can get it. It's a seasonal ingredient. My wife grew some of it. Her friend Mary Callanan, who is a semi-retired Irish-American nurse, but really from Ireland. She and her whole family, they got great accents. She is a part-time farmer. She leases some land in Old Westbury. Some guy's got an estate. More land he knows what to do with.
Right.
She actually grew the potatoes for the last Long Island potato stout, and she grew the next batch, which actually I have at home. I have to scrub them and peel them, and that's what I'll probably be doing tomorrow. So, yeah.
That's awesome. It's definitely something I want to come back to, without a doubt, your use of local ingredients.
Definitely.
But I just want to touch upon one thing fast, because I feel like it would be negligent on our part not to at least revisit it. It's just the 2-year anniversary of the Surge Protector.
Oh, yeah.
San Diego Leaf.
Yes.
So maybe you could give us a little bit of insight as to how that went and like how that came. Obviously we know how it came to life in regards to the storm. But,
Right.
But your role in that and really how that came together.
Well, it was actually again, brewing community is everyone's really supportive of each other. It's competitive in a healthy way as far as people respect each other's work, but no one's looking to cut each other's throats. And if someone's in dire need of some help, like Barrier was, I'm not even sure who came up with the idea, to be honest with you. I just knew that all of a sudden this thing was circulating around. So each of the brewers brought at least a sack of malt.
Yeah, it's great. That's so cool.
The recipe formulation session was a little scattered because it was maybe too many people at the table.
Right.
So I kind of pretty much deferred to the consensus, which is what the beer turned out to be, which I think was a really good beer. But
you're like all hands on deck. Okay, maybe we don't need that many.
right. Yeah. It was too much of a committee approach,
Three hands on deck.
Yeah. Three is probably the most you want collaborating on the recipe formulation.
Right.
But
so a great testament to everyone being committed to what the overall cause was.
Right, and then so half the proceeds went to Barrier, and the other half went to Long Island Cares to help people who needed food.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
It's good stuff.
2 years. Yeah.
2 years, yeah.
That went fast.
Definitely. I mean, I know for me being a South Shore guy, like I saw a lot of damage like up close. A lot of even my friends' watermarks that were 4 feet high on their walls, so on and so forth. So just to revisit that, and we don't want to forget about something like that because it's a really great effort and collaboration by everyone.
Yeah, and a true testament to the Long Island craft beer community.
Right, because we need the somber music underneath, like the Oscars, and remembering who passed away.
Ready? I'm gonna say, if we pause right now, that's where I will have added the music.
Nice.
Nice.
Hopefully we don't get like the play to cut. Like they're like, okay, you've thanked too many people.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, good stuff. So let's come back to that. Let's come back to the fact of using as many local ingredients as possible.
Yeah. Besides water.
Besides the obvious.
Right.
You did mention that you use some locally grown basil and potatoes from the aforementioned farm.
Yep,
but maybe you could give us a little bit more of a local yet global perspective as to where you get a lot of your things.
Well, I mean the bulk of it I get commercially, like every other brewer, from the big suppliers of malt and hops, because Long Island, New York State, much less Long Island, really is not a big producer of either of those. They're working on it. There's John Kinsella, who's a real pioneer here on Long Island for getting hops to be a farm product again in New York State. Long ways to go. So most of the stuff, I get like everybody else, from a truck.
But when you can,
when I can get, we grow some hops in our yard, and then so once a year at least I'll brew Long Island Pale Ale, which is only using Long Island hops. So combination of stuff that we grew, stuff that I bought from John Kinsella. Otherwise, again, playing with different ingredients. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, basil, coriander, different types of basils, and then looking at figs now, maybe a lavender and fig thing, talking about playing around with the figs for the collaboration with Larry. There's a local farm in Huntington called Machinasian Farm. It's primarily a poultry farm, but he also grows organic berries and vegetables and things like that. So they're on Cuba Hill Road.
Okay, I don't believe I've heard of that. So I'm sure I've passed it.
You probably passed it and go, what's going on over there? They usually have animals out front.
Right.
You see the Batmobile, you're like,
they're
small, picking up some ingredients.
Yeah, we get our turkey there every year for Thanksgiving, so
Nice,
and was that something going into brewing beer? Did you know before Blind Bat, started brewing that you were going to be using local ingredients?
It's kind of evolved. It's going to evolve.
Okay.
My wife's an organic grower, and she'd been a farmer for hire, so it just kind of was a thing just came about naturally.
Right.
Hey, what about this? Oh yeah, why not? All right.
And she's grown the potatoes before.
Yes. Sometimes she's grown the potatoes. There's also Sangley Farms out in Peconic. His potatoes. He's at the Northport Farmers Market. That's where I got to meet him. So
yeah.
I think even just for people that follow you on social medias, I feel like it's kind of obvious that you care about doing those things as much as possible, but also like reusing things. I know that your wife uses your spent grains to bake goods. Yeah. Sometimes bake and sometimes compost like everybody else. But also she got a grant to study. She wrote a grant proposal and she got awarded that to study spent grain as a direct applied mulch in farm fields.
Oh wow!
And it turns out she used it on onions primarily, and not only were the weeds easier to deal with, because if you're an organic grower, you can't really be using the typical pesticides and weed killers and all that stuff. So not only did it help with the weed control, but also the yield on the onions. The onions were freaking huge. They're like softballs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or bigger. So
natural miracle grow.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So because here on Long Island we don't have typically a lot of breweries. What they do is they'll ship out the spent grains for cattle feed or pigs, whatever.
Right.
We don't have a lot of animals being raised on Long Island. So, but there are plenty of farms in Suffolk County that maybe they'll start taking spent grains. So.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean,
it's important.
It's kind of the downside to the cost of living being so high, where like, from a square footage standpoint and just acreage, you're paying an exorbitant amount. So it doesn't necessarily correlate to that type of person occupying the commercial land or farmland rather for agricultural reasons. Although it's awesome, and I feel like everyone on Long Island appreciates that entity of the island when they go out east.
Right.
They do their seasonal things, whether it's apple picking, pumpkin picking, so on and so forth.
It's a whole different world, seems like, for most of us.
Right, because growing up in a more dense, typical suburban environment, you don't see the farms that used to be surrounding us here.
Yeah. You can see Mike prancing the fields.
It's true.
Out there.
Sometimes in the morning when there's a dew,
right.
I like to slip and slide across the sod fields.
Right. Is that sand sombrero?
It depends. Depends on the exact time that I'm out there.
All right.
That sounds like a perfect Beer Amigos event, like slip and slide on the dew. If you can make it with the sombrero not flying off your head, you get a point, and the first person at 10 points wins.
And it sounds like a song. I think you could write.
Mike is slipping on the dew. Mike is slipping on the dew.
It's true.
We love talking to Greenport Harbor because I know they're getting into, or they've been getting into, the use of local ingredients. I know they were growing their own barley, or
barley as well as some hops. When they have the connection with the Wisnowski family, which is
family farm.
Right. There's a lot of Wisnowskis out. You go to the East End, just yell Wisnowski.
And are they all his family?
37 people.
Right. They're all related. Different branches and all that.
Right.
But So so that's awesome.
We love talking about that. They see the importance of that, and Mike and I see the importance of that, and
and they've got some land at their disposal, so why not?
Yeah,
so,
beautiful.
Let's get
Have you been there yet, Mike?
No, unfortunately not.
Nice. You could definitely slip across the dew.
There you go.
You have plenty of room to do that.
Put it on my bucket list.
Well, now we also recently heard you have a new beer, Midnight Train to Jodhpur.
Jodhpur. It's a city in India.
Right.
Can you say that again, Paul?
Midnight Train to Jodhpur. Instead of Midnight Train to Georgia.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I appreciated your enunciation.
Oh, right.
Enunciation and pronunciation.
Yeah, hopefully it's not skirting that fine line of getting it right and not being offensive.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So is that going to be the newest blind bat beer to be released?
That's been the new beer. I'm going to brew that after the Long Island Potato Stout, which will be next week.
Okay.
And that's going to be a black IPA.
And you had a problem saying, I think I read something on Facebook, you didn't like that black IPA terminology.
Well, it seems, but actually I'm being forced to use it by the federal government.
Right, okay.
Those bastards. That 1%.
Yeah, right. No, it is, because, black, pale, they seem like opposite terms.
They definitely do.
But... when in Rome. I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I have other things to fight.
One in Singapore.
Yeah. So actually, I've got two ideas for two black IPAs. One is going to be the Midnight Train, which is basically going to be an American IPA hopping levels.
Okay.
I want to use some of the hops like Citra that give you, or Galaxy that give you like some of the tropical fruit.
Right.
But also none more black.
With NUN.
NUN.
Right.
But still, Spinal Tap
I
reference.
love Spinal Tap. It's none more black.
Yes, yeah. Which could be blacker.
Yeah.
None. The answer's none.
It's none more black.
None more black. That one I want to just make is the hoppiest thing I can. As much hops in there, like super imperial double IPA level, but black.
Your
That
label
sounds
will
fun.
be an homage to the Spinal Tap logo.
Well, the label is actually
It would just be black.
it has a lot of black in there, and a little none in there on the other thing. Yeah.
Can you at least throw like a little amp dial with 11, like somewhere?
Maybe work that in there. Yeah. Some people will get it.
This beer goes to
Maybe
11.
I mean, if I can make it 11% ABV, then there you go.
This beer goes to
That'd be
11%.
sweet.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to have to do now.
You've heard it here
Mike,
first.
we got trademarked that.
Right.
So Mark,
Royalties.
when Mark does it, when Mike,
Yeah.
I say Mark and Mike and
When,
Paul,
when
That's
Paul,
right. Well,
Mike,
they trademark.
Paul,
that'll be beautiful.
And you are?
Travis.
Yeah, that's good. So you remember
I
your
think.
own name
All day, every day.
and
No,
where you live.
My
you're
wife
okay.
refers to me as the man. When there's company here, so.
When company's here.
Yeah,
you
but
get
she says it
respect.
in quotes. So
Right. Yeah, there's a little sarcasm in there.
Hey,
The man,
this is
right.
Mike, and this is the man.
Right.
We are the Beer Amigos. So when can we expect at least Midnight Train to Jaipur?
I was going to talk to you about that because I know you've got the thing at the Cortland coming up in December.
We do.
I was thinking none more black for that one, but I just learned since I didn't attend last year, whenever it was, he said Larry did a black IPA for you already.
He did. Well, that was 2 years ago. That was
Right.
2 years ago.
If that
Last
time
year,
has passed, yeah.
last year he did something with the chili pepper.
Oh.
Unless it was the black IPA with chili pepper.
and Long Island also.
And Long Island did their
Cask of-
cask of their winter beer with like
The Winter Ale.
significant more cinnamon and candy cane.
Wow.
And yes, our Beer Amigos Winterfest is on December 19th. Friday, December 19th.
Trev, you had a little
we
apprehension
just booked it.
All right.
The 4th annual. And Paul is going to be there, Paul and Blind
I'll be
Bat.
brewing something.
It's going to sound delicious when you tell us what you're
He'll
bringing.
be bringing The Dark Nightmare Before Christmas.
Something. Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Right. If I like candy canes, I'd make some of the candy canes, but I can't stand them. So
Yeah.
That's all right.
I wish I liked them.
yeah,
I like them less and less every year, which is how my take on pumpkin beer has been too. Every year I like pumpkin beer significantly less,
Yeah,
to the point where now I just don't even think I like pumpkin beer.
Well,
It kind of bums me
Put
out
your
a
nose
little
up at
bit.
it.
if you start drinking in August. you
Well,
can get
yeah, yeah. When you go to Buffalo Wild Wings and people are like sweaty and they're drinking pumpkin beer,
Yeah.
Why are they sweaty?
because it's August.
They're like 300-pound high school linemen.
Right. Oh, they're also the wings and the high meat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
They ordered the Satan's asshole hot wings.
Right.
So I also saw that Midnight Train to Jodhpur is going
Yes.
to be brewed using New York State malted barley.
Oh yeah. That one actually yes, because I did buy some. There's a malt house in Massachusetts,
Okay.
Valley Malt, lady's name is Andrea. Can't remember her last name. Anyways, she can use malt from New York State. She can certify that, because she's such a small operation, she can say, yes, this batch was from this farm. It's in Penn upstate or whatever. So I bought some Saxon malt from her for that. So
and will this be your first beer actually using New York State malted barley?
No.
Okay.
There was a thing in New York City, either earlier this year or last year, and I used her malt for a New York State malt version of Hellgate Golden Ale.
Ooh,
she had a Vienna malt that I used. So
I don't know if Mike knows, but I'm a big fan of Hellgate.
Oh, good.
Hopefully you know.
No,
every time I go to Old Fields and Green Lawn, I get
Yeah.
so excited. I'm like, yeah, they got Hellgate.
On the way here today, I was like, that restaurant looks like I'd want to eat there.
It's really good.
Old Fields is really
It's
great.
really, really good. And I love the environment. It's just cozy.
They've done great
it's
things.
Like warm.
Yeah, they did great things with that place. I went in there 2000-ish.
Okay.
Previous owners. It was like going into some old aunt's house. It was different. And then,
Smelled like mothballs.
Smelled like mothballs. And right. And then typical steakhouse thing, you want a tiny little cup of cream spinach with the steak. Well, that's another $15. It's like,
that damn a la carte menu.
Yeah. But no, love Old Fields. The food is terrific and reasonably priced.
It is, and
very comfortable.
And they have a burger that's sandwiched between two different grilled cheese sandwiches.
Oh man, it's like the
burger.
Fatty McFatty.
Burger
and
and actually,
not
this previous time, but the time prior to that, I ate it.
And that's when Melissa started calling you the man.
And the guy high-fived me. Because he looks at me, I'm like 100 and like...
Oh, right. He's like, this guy can't put that
135 pounds or whatever it is. And
he thought you were just going to eat the grilled cheese.
Just stick the cheese off the plate. That's it. Right.
It was good. So.
Right. And they almost always have Long Island on tap, so
that's
a good place to
go.
Yeah, it's nice to see when... the local restaurants that are of the chain variety support the local breweries.
Well, it's not a chain. I mean, it's a small restaurant group, but yeah. I mean, Old Fields is not a chain.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, though, supporting the local guys.
More and more places are doing it, so that's good.
And it's
good
great
for everybody.
I'm sure you agree. Living here in Centerport, we have Huntington, we have Greenlawn, we have Northport, and there's great places in all three towns that have great beer. Whereas before I moved here and we'd come back and I'd visit my parents 9 years ago, there wasn't.
Right.
Granted, they were significantly less Long Island craft beer on the island.
True.
But a lot of these places seem to really be embracing the community, which is it's nice for people like us who like to have good beer with dinner.
Right, yeah.
Because it could ruin
it
could ruin a good beer.
The best choice might be Michelob.
Hey, fellow beer geeks, this is Dave from Bellport Cold Beer and Soda, and you are listening to the Beer Amigos.
All right, so let's back up a few seasons. I feel like during the summer I saw a bottle that said something along the lines of a summer Hell Smoke.
Yes. This past summer, just playing around because I have when I brought Hell Smoke out in previous summers, I had some people say I like it, but it's really heavy and hot outside. I don't know if I want it. Yeah, so I lightened the body a little bit, and I played with a little bit, add a little wild yeast to it. Okay. I have fermenters I can open up. So it came out So it came out as a lighter-bodied, slightly tart version of the Hell Smoke Porter.
Interesting.
And had some people. Some guy kept coming in from Brooklyn to buy it because he said he was just nuts for it.
And this was the first summer you did that.
This is the first time I did it. Yeah.
That's smart.
I feel like I would like to try that.
Yeah.
Because Hell Smoke's a little bit heavy for me personally.
Okay. See. Yeah. There you go.
So I can definitely appreciate the different perspective and. As someone that's also a vinyl collector, could appreciate the variance.
Oh, yeah.
I do have some blind bat battles downstairs.
Okay.
When we made the move to the house, I packaged everything up, so I have...
Oh, nice.
I must have 50, 60 bottles downstairs. I don't know if I'll ever take them out of the,
that's a
the
cellar.
box.
Right.
No, sorry. They're I already drank them.
All right.
Sorry, I meant I saved the bottles.
Okay, all right.
That's called hoarding.
I thought that's what you meant by collecting.
No, I can appreciate that too, because I know... You have the Dogfish lineup, and
I do. Yeah, I saved one of each of those bottles.
I like that too because, the art. You can appreciate the artwork of it and stuff like that.
Right.
So
yeah.
I know that Sam, especially, he just did he switched all his seasonals to Jermaine Rogers,
the local art. He's not local though. He's an artist.
He's from. He resides in Brooklyn now.
Okay.
He's from Texas prior.
Those bottles,
and I really like him as he does a lot of screen print art and music poster art.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool that he incorporated that. He's previously used Tara McPherson too, who I believe is also possibly a Brooklyn artist.
Yeah.
But it's cool to use those different arts. People, you're expressing yourself in a multitude of ways.
Whether
it be brewing or actual artistry. drawing or painting.
Yeah, graphic art.
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely went out and bought other bottles just so I could have the new bottle.
Wow.
Just store.
And then the marketing's working.
Yeah, I did drink it. I'm a big fan of fresh beer. I don't age beer. I don't know. I just like fresh beer.
Most beers are better fresh. But
Yeah,
some beers are.
I'm always a fan of
keep them there.
Fresh. Scott from Ghost Cat would always say that
wine.
too. He's like, dude, just drink it fresh, man. I'm like, yeah, I feel the same way. Just I love it.
I have a pretty good, more beer than I care to admit, tucked away. But it's got to be the correct style of beer that you're aging. So,
yeah, if I have a summer beer that I can drink this summer, I'll obviously save it till next summer. But I guess that's aging, but it's not on purpose. It's not on purpose.
It's accidentally.
accidental.
I actually have 7-year-old cans of Coors Light in my basement refrigerator.
Does the can still turn blue if you
No. These we kept in the house when my dad would come to visit.
Oh,
that
I
was
remember
his,
you
it was
telling
his
me this
beer
previously.
choice.
Yeah.
So
Gotta hold on to those.
I have got 2 left, I think. I pop them up on Father's Day.
That's
great.
cool. We definitely have had or touched upon this conversation
I think so.
at some point.
Yeah.
Because that's what my dad drinks also. And
Yeah,
I'm always
yeah.
like, oh, Dad. But, at the end of the day, you have to drink what you like.
That's how I feel about it. What
Of
makes you
course.
happy, life's too short to, force yourself to try something. Well, you try stuff. You should try stuff. But
Definitely.
just drink what makes you happy.
That's why I never understood the terminology, beer snob. I like beer geek because
Yeah.
it's like, why pass judgment on someone if they like something?
Right,
What's the,
right.
What's
beer
the,
geek
don't
is
be a
good.
snob. Be a beer geek.
Right. There are some snobs,
Kind of
but
works.
geeks are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like beer geek.
Hey, as long as someone maintains an open mind to potentially at least try
Right.
something that's out of their
Yep.
normal
Comfort zone.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
You might be surprised.
Just like
you might
Mike.
like old Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like you when you auditioned for American Idol last year. That was out of your comfort zone.
Totally
and-
out of my
Oh my God.
I'm used to just singing to myself in the mirror in the bathroom.
I think we could tell everyone that wasn't true,
was-
but we
it
did have a
really
few
happened.
people come up to us because Mike wasn't around to attend a beer festival
Okay.
a few years ago, so I went by myself and I told everyone that he was auditioning for American Idol.
I believe that was true.
Oh, there you go. we had
Got
And then
a-
I
got a lot
felt
of
I
momentum.
felt bad, and I didn't hear anything like had happened good, and I was like, well, I don't want to ask if it's a sore point. Like, how'd that go? I didn't get it.
Well, I guess that actually proves my wife's point where she says, when you're joking around, you seem really serious sometimes. I guess, there you
Right.
go. I love you, honey.
Also, on the audio podcast, a wink doesn't really carry.
No, yeah.
The silence is Travis winking.
we like trying to be goofy on the Beer Amigos.
So,
Yeah, that's for you. Enjoy.
Hey, Miller High Life.
Someone did leave a Miller High Life here.
Hey.
Oh, it was our housewarming party
was
over
it
a
my
year
Uncle
ago.
Perry?
Right.
It was my cousin James.
So I do absolutely enjoy when I see you discuss dropping like bottles off at distributing it to a retailer or a restaurant, and I'm always like
Yeah, it's great.
like especially
Thanks.
because you had brewed the sweet potato saison for the Blue Point Cascales Festival, and then you brewed it again. I think bottled it after that, and I was like, oh,
so
so
good,
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you, thank
I was
you.
definitely excited to see that because it's a great thing because people, not everyone can attend those
No.
those smaller scale Cascales festivals, and it gives them an opportunity to have those beers.
Yeah, for sure.
That we enjoy so much and celebrate and share when we do interviews and review beers that we had for the day. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your current state of affairs with your location.
The location. Well, it's still in the garage.
That's great.
A short walk from here.
Yes.
Yeah, we thought we had something lined up for Northport Village, which would have been fun, but had some disagreements with the landlord after we got the planning and zoning board approval, so we lost a lot of time. We lost about 6 months there. Since then, been looking at a lot of different places, trying to keep somewhere western Suffolk, eastern Nassau.
Okay.
We've also been having really good talks with, there's a company, Renaissance Downtowns, they're a real estate developer. They're looking to revitalize Huntington Station. They're also working on projects, a couple of cities up and down the East Coast, a bunch here on Long Island. And we really would love, when I say we, my wife, Regina, is also now my business partner. But we would really love to be part of revitalization of Huntington Station if possible. We looked around to see if there's any existing buildings. There wasn't anything, so now we're talking with them about new construction, something on New York Avenue, just north of the train station.
Okay.
So between the village proper and the
Right,
railroad
right.
station. But that's at least, they say, a year and a half. I said, okay, that's 2.5 years before that's going to happen. So we've been looking at smaller spaces, kind of inspired by what we were looking at in Northport, to do still relatively small brewery with maybe more of tasting room, retail space business versus distribution as wide as I eventually want to be. And so we're actually, one place is right here in Centerport.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can tell me later.
I tell everybody. Landlady's really great. It's
Great.
on Washington Drive.
Oh, wow.
Years ago, it was a bar. It's incredibly tiny, but still bigger than my garage.
Okay.
Trying to get the town to get its head around the fact that we're going to turn what used to be a bar into a small brewery with a tasting room.
This is right here. The store's at the block.
Yeah, on Washington Drive.
This
Used to
one
be
bar that used to
the one that's the one
close.
empty spot that used to be the Caddy Shack and then Centerport Pub and
That makes
different
me
things.
so happy.
So, but yeah, we met with the planning department a couple of days ago this week, and there's nothing in the zoning code that allows for it.
Okay.
If we wanted to open up a tinsmith or a blacksmith, that's actually still in the code.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
So I could just brew there. They're fine with that, but
Okay.
I couldn't. But I couldn't have a tasting room and
room.
sell. Or I could just have a tasting room and sell, but I couldn't also brew. It's the combination
it's
of the two.
either or.
Right, either one of those, not both.
Yeah.
So we're trying to work things out with the town.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, there's a place in Smithtown that we like.
Right,
We've been talking to
which
the
you
owner there. Former deli on 25 Jericho Turnpike.
Okay. Great.
So that's the kind of space we're looking at.
Yeah.
I'm looking at more spaces tomorrow. So
Yeah.
nothing's settled. I was hoping I'd have news.
That's okay.
But I don't.
This is still news.
Yeah.
I have news. We're going to remove some magnets and go crack some skulls.
Yeah. right.
And possibly open a blacksmith.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I found talking to other brewers, finding a space. Dan and Greg said it was the worst part of their
Right.
whole journey was finding
Interesting.
a space.
Yeah.
The guys at Finback, Basil and Kevin, they described the process as grueling, which
Yeah.
sounds like hyperbole.
Right.
Until
but-
you really go through it, because you're trying to find the right space.
Yeah.
The building itself has to have certain criteria, solid floors, good sized ceilings, adequate power, etc. Just the basic bones of the building. And then the location, well, you look at it and say, okay, are people going to not want to come here or not, whatever type of things. And then you have to deal with the landlord. We've been finding a lot of landlords are kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. And then you've got to deal with the towns, the municipalities, with zoning and such. So there's a lot of moving parts, and you can get most of those things on the list right, but like with the spot in Centerport, if the town says, no, you can't do it, you have to appeal it, that's another 6 to 8 months.
Right.
We're just going to move on.
Yeah. You don't have any more time.
No. So this has been, and talking to other brewers, I mean,
It's
every time-
I'm sure it's a full-time job in its
Oh,
own.
God,
It's like
yeah.
when you're applying for a new job. This is
right, that's true.
essentially
That's
it's
you're
a
looking for a
full-time-
job is your job.
Yeah,
Right,
it's a full.
right, yeah.
Are you? I noticed you said you're looking at locations tomorrow. Obviously, we'll get
Yeah.
back to what we were just talking about previously. But looking at locations tomorrow, are you still working your day job?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I was laid off.
All right.
Yeah, they finally got to me. Worked in publishing, published American Institute of Physics down in Melville, published peer-reviewed physics journals.
Okay.
And for the past 3 years, it's just wave after wave after
Right.
wave of layoffs.
Yeah.
And the water kept getting a little closer to my feet, and finally, bloop, down I went.
It's interesting because when I was laid off, it was definitely happened at the right time. So I'm sure for you, in some respects, it's
Yeah.
it's okay that it's now,
Right.
so to speak.
Well, because I can spend the time on finding that
Right.
space, brewing as much as I
yeah.
can. Dan and Greg at Long Island have been great because I've actually been brewing every once in a while out there.
Very nice.
They're great dudes.
They're
They are.
yeah,
They are. They're
very,
terrific.
Very generous.
It was almost perfect timing because I was laid off just about when the Northport thing was supposed to happen. So I would have just transitioned right into that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
That would have been too sweet.
But yeah, it would have been too sweet.
Yeah.
Life doesn't go that well. So.
Well, Paul, we obviously wish you the best of luck with
Thank you.
finding a new location, securing that location, and opening your front doors.
Yep.
If something happens in Centerport or any surrounding town, and you need Travis there,
All right, thanks. All right.
I'm always just a phone call away.
Thank you.
He'll bring his thirst and
Yeah.
his presence.
I'm like, please just let him open close to my house. Go ahead, Mike.
So Paul's obviously, very persistent in wanting to achieve his goal of getting his operation open in full effect. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely kudos to you in that sense for following your passion and wanting to expand that as much as possible.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm half Polish, it helps. Yeah, I just keep getting up.
And kind of when I was trying to not murder Paul's last name, in my head I kept thinking...
Can you say it?
My name's Paul D, and I get respect. Cash in the jewelry is what I expect. So I think at the very least we could throw him as support, if not cash or jewelry. So
Definitely.
Once he's open, then bring the cash.
Thank you.
Hawk the jewelry for cash.
Right. And actually, the collaboration with Steve Pominski, the Polish beer, we're really working hard on trying to find a Polish word that no one can pronounce for the name of the beer.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, right.
So people will be like, I'll have
that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna start spelling it to you.
Right. Even that stuff.
Yeah. So upcoming events besides Winterfest on
at the
Friday, December
19th.
19th.
19th is what I heard.
Which you all must come down to.
Yeah.
Swear on the
At
street.
Cortland and Bayshore. Then in January, there's going to be in Rocky Point, their annual Nano Cask Ale Festival.
Snowstorm.
Always a great day inside, and then treacherous nightmare getting home.
It is a great time, though.
Yeah.
It's great. And Paul,
A lot of twisty roads. I get lost coming home.
and we sang with Paul last year.
Oh,
We
yeah,
sang-
that was fun.
We sang,
That was
sang a
fun.
John Prine song.
Yep. Good old John Prine.
Or at least we tried to sing
Well, yeah.
a John Prine song.
I mangled something there. In February, I'm going to try the hops and props as well. I'm actually going to be trying new farmers markets, winter markets also, because I
Great.
sell at farmers markets, as you know.
And I heard they actually don't allow alcohol sales at the Huntington.
The Huntington one, because it's in a school.
Okay.
Just because I drive there during school days in the van with
Yeah.
the beer. Come on, kids. They don't want me in the
tinted windows.
No. No, they don't want it there. And actually, there are a couple of other farmers markets in the winter that are in churches. They also have a problem.
Okay.
I brought sacramental wine. Maybe I could
Right.
pull it off, but no. This actually, I'm going to try the Riverhead Farmers Market.
Great.
Matt and Lori apparently are not doing it
Okay.
this year.
Yeah, we saw
And
them
they were
last
looking
year.
for yeah.
That's right. You weren't allowed to taste it, but they were allowed to
Right.
sell it.
Because yeah.
Yeah.
So and they're hopefully doing better and better at their place out in Riverhead.
Yeah, they're great. And Mustache. I don't know if I
Yeah.
told you, Mustache is going to be part of this year's Winterfest as
Oh,
well.
awesome! Good.
Yes.
All right.
December 19th. Everyone come down to the Cortland.
Right.
So
Check
so
it.
far, it's actually Blind Bat and Mustache, and we've reached out to a few other people. So
Yeah.
even if it's just you two, it's going to be
It's just mustache. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
it's going to be a great time. Mike always wears his little elf costume and
Oh.
dances around underneath the snow machine.
It's true.
Wow.
And Bobby just yells and gets everyone pumped. Snow machine.
Yeah.
So that's great. So we want to thank Paul
Thank you.
and Blind
Absolutely.
Bat
Thank you, gentlemen.
for
Thank
stopping
you,
by.
amigos. Buenos dias.
for
Visit
taking
him at the local farmers markets.
Check
follow
your-
him on the
BlindBatBrewery.com. I list where I am, what I'm bringing.
or on Twitter. It's Blind Bat Brewer.
Blind Bat Brewer on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook. So I try and keep it all up to date.
all the regular spots on the internet.
Yes,
Yeah.
most of the interwebs I'm covering. I'm not on the picture thing, the Instagrammy. Yeah.
No Instagramming yet for blind.
That's okay. Those are tough.
Yeah.
So again, we look forward to seeing everybody at the Cortland for the Beer Amigos 4th Annual Winterfest on Friday, December 19th with special beers from Blind Bat, Mustache, and more. Mike's going to be there. Travis is going to be there. Paul's going to be there. It's going to be a good time. So until next time,
Adios, amigos.
thanks for listening.
Adios.
We are the Beer Amigos. We like beer. We are amigos. And that's why we call ourselves the Beer Amigos. Everybody. We are the Beer Amigos.